wonderful day of Craftmas today, and today I'm going to be making a beanie for my dad. Now, this beanie is particularly special because he wanted some color work of his dog Wolfryk. Now, Wolfryk is a ginormous German Shepherd, and that dog has stolen my father's heart. The dog that my father did not want. You know how it goes with dads and dogs. They say no, and then you can't separate them. Anyway, we're gonna work on that. I've already done a couple test samples of what I am going to create. So if you can see the little puppy here, and then this is like a standing German Shepherd. Anyway, I've already created this pattern, but I need to get out my other knitting machine. This one I have here is the LK150 knitting machine, and I need to get out my Singer 360 knitting machine because it's the one that I can actually do two colors with. Now, I could do two colors on this one, but for every row you have to do a back and a forth, and for my Singer it will automatically do the color changes because I have that kind of a carriage. Anyway, I'm gonna get that out and we are going to make a beanie today. This is my Singer 360 knitting machine. We've got all of my needles here in working order. I did just recently replace a couple of those and then polished up the carriage so it moves back really nice. Put a couple of needles in working position and it's very smooth. The first thing that I'm going to do today is a gauge swatch because I actually don't remember what tension I was using on my upper tension dial, which tensions the yarn, and I also don't remember what tension I was knitting with on the carriage, which determines like how tight the stitches are. So I'm going to do a couple rows just in plain stockinette, and then I'm going to switch over to work the color work, place my pattern in, and then see if we can knit it up, and then I will cast on for the hat. I've knit a little bit now in stockinette and it's going really well, so super smooth. The stitches look great. I think the tension is just fine. So I have a tension of 5 at the top, which holds the tension here, and then I have a tension of 7 on the carriage, and I think that's going to be good for what I'm looking for. And now I'm going to set up for color work, and I think I'm going to have the carriage starting on the right, and then I will get out my punch card. Now the punch card for this pattern I actually made myself. So here's what a typical punch card looks like. This one's pre-done, and so these all have like numbers. They came with my knitting machine. A couple different patterns here. Like these, just regular dots. There are some cool ones in here too. Like you have a little train. How cute. And then I think there's a snowman one. I mean a penguin one. Hold on. I want to show you the penguins. I need to show it to you. How cute. Okay, but I made my own using a couple different tools. Number one, I had to get the card material. So this is like a plastic material that you can punch holes into. It came in a whole roll like this material, and what's special is there are tiny little pre-cut holes in here, and that's so you can line up to the exact middle of each of these squares. And then I had to get a special tool to punch into the squares. So you see how there's like a tiny little needle that comes down? Well, that needle is so you can line up into the hole and then punch it out so that you get the perfect center every single time. So what I did with that was I cut the size that I needed. That roll I think was like $12. I got so many of these. And so here's my pattern. So you can see the German Shepherd. I've got a couple paw prints, another one here, and another paw print. So I have been knitting this pattern to get my swatches here. And I'm gonna knit it one more time just to make sure I have the right tension, because this was a couple weeks ago I did this. Here's what the back looks like. Now there is one super long float right here, so I'm gonna try to catch that, or I'm just going to edit the pattern in that section right there. I see where it is. Right, so it's this line right here where it knits in the main color and it has to carry the secondary color all the way. So I'll probably end up changing that or just leaving it, I don't know yet. I have everything that I need to feed the punch card into here. Now I am going to switch this from the circle to the triangle and switch that to S, and then feed this in. I'm gonna feed it all the way around, and then I'm gonna use these clips here, and these just go into the edge to hold the piece together in a circle. I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning. See, those just come right through. And now I'm gonna feed it until I get to row 1 here. It says 1 right on the side, but it's, if I started here, I'm knitting like, I think it's 4 rows behind. Yeah. So 1 starts here, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I started here, I would knit 4 rows below this, which is just plain. So I have to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm gonna start knitting on technically row 1. And it's gonna knit it offset from row 0 here. So I'm gonna have half the pattern over here. Well, like 1 full pattern here and 1 full pattern here. So this is 24 stitches long, this pattern here. So if I have 24 stitches over here, I get a full pattern, and if I have 24 stitches to the left of 0, I get a full pattern, and so that's how it's offset. The next thing I need to do is set up my carriage to work in 2 different colors. So I'm just going to thread my secondary color, which is a light pink, through here. Bring that in. Now I want this to go to knit in here, and I'm going to leave everything else the same. And then I leave this closed. So my first yarn's here, my second is here. And I'm just going to tie this around the bottom here. So I have tension on it, I can pull it, I can actually pull both of these. And now I can go ahead and knit. Hi, Shadow. Hey, little girl. Aren't you just the cutest baby ever? Yay! It's working! Now this is where... Guys, excuse me! Hey! Excuse me! Hush! Oh my goodness, you guys! I'm just gonna move the needle out and catch this bit of yarn. And what that's gonna do is just help the float not be so floaty. Okay, and now we're gonna work back again. I'm gonna push that one out so that the pink catches there. And I think that's gonna solve my problem. $24, yeah, okay, so now you see how the pink didn't go through at all and it's kind of just hanging loose. I'm gonna switch back to stockinette now and then knit the rest of this. Switch back to stockinette. I'm gonna basically do everything that I did but in reverse. So I'm gonna flip my carriage back to stockinette. That's very important. I sometimes forget that. Then I'm just going to break the yarn and bring it back over here. I'm just gonna clip it onto my cast on comb. Everything about the carriage is now set to knit in stockinette, and I could just come back and knit because I don't have anything on my card, but we're gonna do it the right way, and I'm going to remove the card entirely, set that back to normal, and now this is just going to knit in stockinette. So here is my knitted sample. I think it's looking really good. I am a little bit skeptical about, so I like designed this tiny paw print right there, but it kind of doesn't look like much. I think I'm gonna redo the design and then punch it all out again. And punch it all out again. So since I'm cutting out everything new again and doing another punch card, I thought I would show you how this works. So the roll itself has these sheets, and then there's a natural break in the pattern. And I'm just gonna cut in the middle of that. So just down the middle, and then I will have to trim the ends, but there is excess on there on purpose. And then I'm gonna draw out my design in pencil on this little grid. Now that I have some of the pattern on here, I can start to punch it out. So I'm just gonna line up the little needle and punch. And there you have it. And I'm gonna do that for the entirety of the design. So I'm just gonna go ahead and knit the base of the hat. I've got 80 stitches on the left-hand side and 81 stitches on the right-hand side. I'm gonna cast on with waste yarn and attempt to do a 2x1 ribbing. And I think I'm gonna try to get like 10 rows of this, and then we'll put through the ravel cord. So you may notice that this is not a 2x2 rib, and I just don't have the supplies that I need to do a 2x2 rib. This is the last attempt I made trying to do that, and it's just not gonna work. So we're gonna do a 1x1 mock ribbing where I have every other needle selected here. This is my waste yarn, so now I'm going to use my ravel cord. Waste yarn, this yarn is called waste yarn. It's not actually gonna go to waste. I'm gonna reuse it. We'll just put in our cord. We're gonna knit. I've reset my row counters to 0, and now I'm going to knit 60 rows. Hello?
Hey.
Hi.
How's you?
I'm good. I've got the 60 rows for the ribbing knit, but I have run out of my blue. So I think what I'm gonna do is switch over to the dark purple and the white, and then do dark purple as color 1 and then the white as the accent color. Brain processing. Yeah, purple and white. Let's do that. But first I need to hang the ribbing here and then knit a row to secure it. In order to hang the ribbing, I am going to remove all of the weights and all of the cast on comb and stuff like that. So I just have this hanging loose now. And I'm going to grab my handy dandy tool. Do you see these little ridges where we have purple on either side? There's the pink ridge and then the blue ridge right here. I'm gonna pick up all of these ridges and put them onto the needles between each of my current working stitches. So grab that, bring it all the way over, and feed it onto the needle. Here's a closer view at what I'm doing. So I'm grabbing the last ridge here, the one between the pink, or just right after the pink. So we have all these pink bumps, and then I'm grabbing the blue right there. All right, I've got everything rehung here. So I'm just gonna do one row of the blue. Hopefully it goes smooth. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh, what's gone wrong? Please. Okay. scary. What happened was my tooth here got caught in the machine. Do you see how that's bent now? It's because I did not hang this properly. My own fault. The machine needs enough space to run over the stitches here, and I did not allow for that to happen. There are a few things I need to do to the punch card before it is ready for the machine. And the first one is I have to punch all of the holes in the bottom and the top so that when they come together, they're just open and overlapping like this. So I'm going to do that next. Done a total of 60 rows, including the color work. So the color work and then knit up to 60. That's not including the ribbing, which folded in half is 30 rows. So I have a total of 90 rows here. And now I'm going to pick up all these stitches and put them on my hand knitting needles, because I don't like to do the decreasing on the machine because you have to manipulate the stitches so many times. It would just be easier for me to do it by hand. So here we go to remove the waste yarn, and I'm just going to find, I have the purple ripcord, and all I need to do is just pull on it and ta-da! That piece just comes right off. Now I did not do a gauge swatch with my hand needles, but I think 3mm. I mean, this is the smallest I have, so might as well go with that one. And I think this cord will work. In order to pick up these stitches, I'm just going to put my knitting needle through here, move the knitting machine needle forward and back so that the latch lets go of the yarn, and then we'll just grab the next one the same way. This will take a little bit of time, but I think hand knitting this is going to be my best option. It has been a few hours now. I've had lunch, I've come back, I put this first on circular needles and now I have it on double pointed needles, and I've got 9 stitches remaining, so I am just going to cast off and then tie them tight, and that'll be the top of the hat, and then I will just seam down the side and block it, and then we should have a hat with all these little puppies on it. I finished it, it's done, but it's not blocked yet, and I'm gonna have my husband model it because this is a bit too large for my head, but my dad and my husband both have larger heads than I do. Oh, Shadow! No, you may not have it. Will you try this on?
Sure. Yeah, it's very warm. I don't even feel the cold on my head.
Oh, good. Look at the dog on the back. They like morphed together. Tell me what you think. Does he look kind of funny?
No, it's... What happened to this? This is a big-headed dog. I like it. I really like the multi-green blue. It's like the paint I want on my Lamborghini.
Oh yeah, it is like a multi green blue. Very nice.
And the blue is really rich. And then you went with like an alabaster, which I know what that is because we painted our entire house this color. But it's not like a pure white. I think a pure white would look weird, but it's got like a little bit of warmth to it to fit in with the purple.
It's nice.
And then you have Big Dog.
The dog. That's it. I think it's great. I added my little tag here that says Totally Stitchcraft around it. I think my dad's gonna really like that touch because it just makes it a lot more personal. And this is a wool yarn, so it's gonna be very, very warm. I do like how it turned out. I like all of the little tiny dogs on it. I think they're adorable. The purple and blue do go together pretty well. I did a pretty poor job seaming it up, and also This dog is pretty deformed because it's actually the butt of this one and then the head of this one. So I would probably change the pattern to match up a little bit better, but from a distance, it honestly doesn't look bad. Like, it's not two butts meeting together, you know.